Alright folks, and welcome back to the Don's channel. I am the Donfather and this is hashtag AFL Car Chat. I'm reviewing today's game between the Western Bulldogs and Collingwood, the Magpies at the Marvel Stadium. This is round 14, 2019 in the AFL ladder. Good game, not a really high scoring game. Some really good bits of football played today, but we'll start it off straight away. First quarter, bursting in, first minute, Sam Lloyd with the goal. Great bit of play from the back, forward, Sam Lloyd to finish off. Really lovely goal, team goal. There was 2 goals from Phillips. He was quite good in the first half of the game anyway. One from Mason Cox, one from Ben Reid. Reid was absolutely sensational today. Mason Cox wasn't bad. He made some quite important marks, but we'll get to that. We'll cover that as we go on. So they scored 4 after that. Collingwood hit 4 in a row, and then back came the Bulldogs with Suckling with 1, Pat Lipinski with 1, and Shaki, he got 1, and it was an unbelievable goal from back to front. They were actually on their defensive... They were at nearly enough at their own goal. They've played it so quickly all the way up the field, and Shaki there to finish it off. Before the game, Grundy was averaging about 20 plus disposals a game, and he was on fire today as well. I just needed to put that stat in. I completely forgot about it. And Reid, big player as I mentioned, split with a mark. Somebody went up for the mark at the back of him. Knee went into the back of his head. It split him. There was blood running down him. He had to go off the field of play to be fixed up, and of course checked for concussion, which he didn't have. So the end of that quarter finished 27-25 with the Bulldogs. Thought Collingwood came back into it straight away, hit 4 goals on the bounce, and then the Bulldogs came back to take the lead 27-25 at first quarter interval. Into the second quarter then, Naughton got up with an absolute unbelievable mark, but couldn't score the goal after it. De Goey, that man De Goey, Jordan De Goey, some people's tip for a potential Brownlow this year. Absolutely superb dribbler from the right pocket. He had no right to score it, but he got in. Typical fashion of a great player, always finds a way to score. And if you're going to put money on anyone doing it, it's going to be De Goey. Dixon got 1 in that quarter. It was a very low scoring second quarter, really. Not much in it. 37-32, we went in at half-time. Caleb Daniel was one of the players I put down first half. 21 disposals, intercepting everything really well. Quite important, dictating play, not panicking when he did have the ball, doing the simple things right, doing the hard things great. And big talking point was Jeremy Howe for the Magpies. He's went off what looks like some sort of calf strain or tear, I don't know, but it didn't look too good. He could be out for a while. He was on ice at halftime. They showed a bit of a footage of him behind the scenes. He's got ice on his calf. Hopefully that'll be enough to keep the injury to a minimal, but we'll have to wait and see on the verdict after the game and when things are clearer. So, on into the third quarter, and this was very much now the Magpies taking control. Shaki did get 2 goals in this quarter for the Bulldogs, but as I said, this was a quarter from the Magpies. Took great control, and Grundy got 1. Grundy was sensational today. He's everywhere. Big guy, the hair, the ponytail, you always spot him everywhere. He's winning from the bounce. He's always getting his hand up. He's intercepting things. He's making marks. He just literally was everywhere today. Really good player. Mayachek got 1. De Goey got 1. Always always going to be in and around it. Brown got 1, and the man Reid, the man who got the split, brilliant game again, as I mentioned already. He got 1. It was just literally a Collingwood display of strength in that. 5 goals to 2. A little bit of poor kicking from the Bulldogs in the second half of this game. And what I say, I think what they did well in the first half was apply lots of pressure on the Magpies and keep them pinned back in their 50. They didn't manage to do this. Although they weren't very clinical as such in the first half, they were even less clinical in the second half of the game, and that told. And Collingwood were just putting them to the sword, really, with the opportunities they got. They were finishing mostly. On into the fourth, well, that quarter finished 53-64 to the Magpies. Into the last quarter, it was a little bit more competitive. Reid got one, Grundy got one, Cox got one for the Magpies. Lloyd went absolute specky, you have to see it, unbelievable mark. Daniel with one, Lloyd actually got a goal, and Dixon as well at the very end. I'm going to go through a few stats here. Taylor, the last half was really, Collingwood stepped up, were clinical when they had the chance to score. Bulldogs couldn't apply the pressure that they had in the first half on Collingwood. They really did pin them back. Exceptional. They were chasing them down, they were making tackles. Collingwood were struggling to find a pass, down to the hard work and determination off the ball from the Bullies, the Dogs, and second half, it did drop off. You really could sense that they were getting tired and they were being picked off. Cox was quite big in the forward 50 for Collingwood, even though his kicking wasn't true all the time. He was a big target man, a big outlet man, and same with Reid. Really good. One man I will shout out for the Bulldogs here, who won't get a mention at the very end, is Smith. He made some great tackles, interceptions, great marks as well. You always notice him with that crazy hairdo. He looks like some sort of bogan knocking about the scheme with a few beers or cider or something round the streets. The hair is absolutely exceptional, but he really did have a good game today. But now I'm going to throw out a few stats. Shaki got the 3 goals, Lloyd got 2 goals, 3 behinds. Daniel, wow, 1 goal, 35 disposals, 6 marks. McRae, 42 disposals, 8 marks. Onto the Collingwood stats now. Grundy was their star man, 2 goals, 25 disposals, 8 marks. DeGoey, 2 goals, 14 disposals. Reid, 3 goals, 5 disposals. And players that I did note that needed mentioned as well. Reid, side bottom, DeGoey, Grundy, all mentioned there. Really stood out today. Shaki and Caleb Daniel, 2 outstanding performances from them individually for the Bulldogs. And my man of the match is not going to go to a Collingwood player. It's going to go to the little man at the back. Caleb Daniel did absolutely everything positive today for the Bulldogs. I was quite surprised. Norton had a good game, but he wasn't as good as I've seen him in previous weeks. He did get involved. I think he did get in there with a goal as well, I think. Look there, I'll check. It should be wrote down. No, he actually never scored today, but he was involved in quite a lot of play, but pretty quiet in terms of performances that he's had in the past few weeks. And also his name, what's his name? I can't remember, but we'll get back to him if it does come to my head. Jenkins, no, not Jenkins, I can't freaking, whatever his name is, it doesn't matter. But my man of the match, Caleb Daniel, absolutely outstanding for the small man on the field of play today. Tiny, he's got the headguard on, but he's literally done everything. He was slick under pressure. He did make marks, as I said. He's made a few marks there. He's 6 marks, but the disposals, he literally, he was so calm. There was a sense of sureness about everything he did. When he got the ball, he was calm. He picked out a man nicely. He just literally glided through the game today, and he did get his goal as well. But absolutely sensational performance from him. He should have been on the winning side with how well he played. It was a tight finish, 73-82, but Collingwood did show that they're a little bit more classier under pressure. And this is the theme for Bulldogs. They have been playing really, really well. Some weeks I've been watching them, but I don't know if it's self-belief they lack or quality, or do they hurry things in the forward 50, particularly in the final quarter. they just, it's like they're trying to rush it too much and they make poor decisions. There's times where they should maybe take their set shot, but they hurry it. And, you know, in hindsight, you look at it and you go, well, if he had actually played the set shot, they might have got points on the board there. Instead, they've tried to hurry it and rush it. And I think that's what's let them down. Decision making in key times in the games and key areas in the games as well. So the Bulldogs very much are playing good stuff. A lot of positives to take from them, but I think that Collingwood's quality overall shines through. Bearing in mind they were a couple of men down with Howe being out, and of course Stevenson with the betting scandal as well has been a fantastic player for them. He's been missing. Cox was hot and cold today. He did make some important marks. He could have kicked better, but the goalie was really good. Grundy was their star man for Collingwood today, so congratulations to Collingwood. You're now second in the ladder. They were third going into this, and the Bulldogs were actually sitting 15th. They could have jumped up a few places if they got the win today, and they could have got the win today. Again, as I said, just poor decision making and maybe a lack of self-belief. Maybe just ran out of steam as well. I don't know, but all things considered, it was a deserved win for Collingwood. They do have a little bit more quality and they're second in the ladder for good reason. Star players like Grundy, De Goey, Reid, side bottom as well, deserves a mention. Congratulations to them. Commiserations to the Bulldogs. I do feel that there's a win coming for them, but their key men really do need to step up at important times and make the correct decisions. Kick your set goals, guys. Come on. Thanks very much for tuning in. I've really enjoyed the car chat today. I mean, wasn't the most spectacular game I've seen. It was a bit of a, I'm going to use a Australian terminology now, an Aussie rules terminology, an arm wrestle throughout. Nobody really flew away. It was a bit of back and forward game again today, but thanks very much anyway for tuning in. I am the Donfather and this is #AFL Car Chat. Stay tuned for tomorrow's review of the full week. I'm going to possibly do reactions of the games I've not watched this weekend as well. Reactions of those games, so do wait and see if I do that. And of course more reactions in the week to come. Thanks very much. As always, I am the Donfather. Peace and goodbye.